Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hopefully your bellies are full. Happy faces. My name is Nicole Lombardo. I am part of the Geo for Good team. I am also part of the Environmental Insights Explorer team that maybe you have heard a little bit about today and this week. I have the great honor of actually introducing our next guest and speaker, Kate Brandt. She is our Chief Sustainability Officer here at Google. She's going to come up and talk a little bit about some of the ways in which she's helping to coordinate with our data center team, our real estate team, our supply chain team, our products team like ourselves, Geo for Good. She's going to talk a little bit about that. But just some fun facts about her. She actually has been at Google for a couple of years now. She came to us from Washington. We're very lucky to have her. She was actually the nation's first federal chief sustainability officer, which is pretty cool. And so, yes, it's a very tall title. And at while she was there, she held several senior positions. So again, I feel like we're very fortunate to have her here now working with us. She also did receive a number of awards while she was there with the U.S. Navy, and is also a fellow graduate at Brandt University. So please join me in welcoming Kate today. Kate.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Nicole. Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? How was lunch? So one thing that I was very excited to learn this morning is that Dustan Reed, who you all know, who's the wonderful force behind making this a beautiful event, he's also made this a very sustainable event. This is a zero waste to landfill event. So big hand for Dusty. Because, for us, we try to live sustainability in everything we do, including our incredible events, the opportunities we have to bring you on campus. So thank you, Dusty, for your leadership in making this a beautiful and super sustainable event. Well, it is my pleasure to be here with you guys. Nicole said she wanted to brag on me, but really I want to brag on our Geo team. As you guys know from working with them, probably some of you for many years, maybe some of you more recently, or just forming partnerships. Rebecca Moore and the whole team do such incredible work. Their vision, the tools they've created, the work that they've done with you all, I think is truly extraordinary and having tremendous positive impact. So it's always an honor to get to be here with you and address this group. So I wanted to share with you just a little bit about where this work fits into Google's broader commitment to sustainability. And the Geo for Good work, I think, is a critical pillar of how we think about our ultimate vision, which is to strive to build sustainability into everything that we do at Google. So that means our operations around the world, how we partner, and the way that we share our lessons learned and try to enable everyone to be on this journey together with us. So when we think about our sustainability program, we have 4 major pillars. And so I thought I would just spend a little bit of time walking you through what we're focused on across our operations, in our products, and with our partnerships. And then I'll definitely leave some time at the end if you have questions for us about what we're up to. So as you may know, we can often think about the internet, as this kind of disembodied thing, but in fact, all of your Gmail, all the email that lands in your Gmail box, all of your YouTube video streaming, that's all made possible by Google's data centers. And we have a global data center network of 14 data centers around the world. And we like to say that this is kind of where the internet lives for Google. This is a really core and central part of our operations. And Google has now been building data centers for over 10 years. And since the very beginning, we have been laser focused on how do we design and operate these data centers as efficiently as possible. So what that means today is that we're able to operate our data centers and all of the products associated with them. Cloud, you may have noticed you're here in the home of Google Cloud on our campus here in Sunnyvale. All of our cloud products, Gmail, YouTube, all of the other great Google tools you use, we are able to deliver those in a tremendously sustainable way because of how we operate our data centers. And we continue to try to improve. So compared to about 5 years ago, we're getting 7 times more compute for the same amount of energy. So that means we're constantly trying to innovate. How do we design these systems to be as efficient as possible? And we're also doing really interesting things like applying machine learning to our own operations to really test the limits of how can we drive even deeper efficiency. So we have an incredible team within Google Cloud, as well as our partner organization, DeepMind, and they've been piloting machine learning algorithms on our cooling systems. And they are able to see a 30% increase in efficiency of those cooling systems by applying machine learning. So we're always trying to do more. And we also think about how we're using materials within our data centers. And we set a goal similar to our Zero Waste to Landfill event here today. We set a goal a few years ago to operate all of our global data centers as zero waste to landfill. So that means anything that's going out the door, whether that's a server or food from the cafe, our goal is to divert that away from landfills. And we've already gotten 91% of the way there. So that's something that we also really care a lot about. And of course, as we know, nonetheless, no matter how efficient anyone is in their operations, we're still going to use energy. And data centers are energy hogs. They need a lot of energy to do the work. And so we think both because of the critical importance of addressing climate change and because we care about operating our business in a sustainable way, we've been tremendously committed to our work on renewable energy. And so Google, we set a goal back in 2012 that we wanted to operate as 100% renewable energy. And since then, we have an incredible team that has been working with the industry to push the bounds of access to renewable energy, to drive new policies where we've had less ability to procure renewable energy. And fast forward to 2017, we were able to match 100% of our energy use around the world with renewable energy. And that was a big milestone for us. That makes us by far the largest corporate purchaser of renewable energy, about 3 gigawatts of renewable energy. So that's like taking 1.3 million cars off the road. So very significant. But also, we don't want to stop there. We always want to keep innovating. And so what our team has articulated as sort of their next vision is how do we play a role in ultimately driving a 24/7 carbon-free energy grid? What is our role as a major energy consumer in helping to drive that shift? So reaching our 100% milestone was a big deal. Maintaining it is not going to be easy for us as we continue to grow, but also we want to be a driver of this bigger change we need to see in the system. And this work is really related to an even longer standing commitment that we've had as a company, which is to operate as carbon neutral. We've been operating as a carbon neutral company since 2007. And so for us, this is really a 3-pronged strategy. The 2 things I already talked about, deep focus on efficiency, matching 100% renewable energy, and then the rest of our emissions we take care of with carbon offsets. And so with that, we've been able to be fully carbon neutral for 12 years. And of course, we also operate a lot of offices around the world. We have offices in 160 cities now, and of course, you've gotten to see one of our newer campuses here in Sunnyvale. And just as we at Google really talk about focusing on the user when we're designing products, our real estate team focuses on our people, on how do we generate happy, healthy places for our employees. And so this team has developed over 11 million square feet of LEED certified space around the world, done really tremendous work on the importance of safe chemistry and healthy materials. This is, I think, an area of growing attention in the sustainability space, and we've been at this for a long time. So we've done a lot of work with our supply chain in looking at how do we get the nasty stuff, the formaldehyde, and the other chemicals that are still in our built environment out of our products to develop happy, healthy workplaces for Google, but also drive a broader change in the industry. And we also have, of course, our new consumer hardware business. You've probably seen, does anyone here have like a Pixel phone or a Pixel book, anything that you're using today? All right, maybe not yet. Okay, a couple folks. Well, maybe you've utilized our hardware devices, but what you may not know is that as we build this part of our business, we've also made a really significant commitment to embed sustainability and circular economy into that hardware. And so you can check out, if you're curious, we have put out these product environmental reports for all the hardware. So you can check out, for your Pixel phone or maybe your Google Home, how was that product made, the recycled content that we've put into millions of our products that have shipped, recyclability, the ability to trade in your phone here in the US for a new device. So this is a place where we see as really critical as this part of our business grows to also really drive sustainability into how we operate. And equally, we have our responsible supply chain program. Google works with suppliers around the world to develop hardware for our data centers, for our consumer hardware products, and more. And here we're really focused on ensuring that we're partnering with our suppliers on how they're operating from an environmental perspective, but also on safety, on human rights. And this is a place where we see a tremendous opportunity to engage our supply chain and utilize our buying power to drive sustainability also in many other markets with many other companies. And of course, the part of the portfolio that I have to say, and I'm not just saying this because I'm here with you guys, that I'm really the most excited about, where I see us having tremendous opportunity to not only lead by example in how we operate as a global business, but also really to do what only Google can do, to utilize our technology, our platforms, and our partners to all work together to enable the acceleration of positive change. And so, I'm sure you're probably familiar with many of the different incredible Geo for Good projects that are out there, from some of the really early work that the team did with the World Resources Institute and many others on Global Forest Watch. Anyone in here who is involved with Global Forest Watch? I'm curious which. All right, got some folks in the back. More recently, I don't know if Brian Sullivan is in the room right now, but the incredible work of Brian and Oceana and SkyTruth and other partners on Global Fishing Watch. Of course, the incredible work of Karen Tuxen-Bateman on Project AirView, measuring community scale air quality. So I truly think that this work is incredible, and I think we've only just begun. I think we've only scratched the surface of what's possible. And you may have seen, we actually launched a couple of new tools around the Global Climate Action Summit that was hosted in San Francisco a few weeks ago. Were any of you guys up there in San Francisco for GCAS? All right, a few folks. I have to say, I was there. I was tremendously excited by all the commitments that were made, the announcements that were produced there. So we made a couple of announcements. I know you've heard about at least one of them in the course of the conference. But one you may not have heard about is this tool called Your Plan, Your Planet. This is a partnership that we launched with the California Academy of Sciences, which you may know is our great science museum up in San Francisco. And this is a tool that's really intended to give individuals very actionable tools and tips that they can use in their daily lives to live more sustainably. And it's really focused on the very basic tenet of, if you can change how you use water, how you use energy and food, you can dramatically change your own carbon footprint. And if everyone does that, that has a major impact in the world. So if you haven't seen this tool before, you can just Google it, Google Your Plan, Your Planet, and check it out. And hopefully you'll find it useful. We've been getting some really great feedback in just the few weeks we've had it up. And of course, before I take questions, I just wanted to give another shout out to the other great announcement that we had a few weeks ago, the Environment Insights Explorer. And I understand you guys have already heard about that. But again, I think just tremendously exciting, the work that is happening with cities, the potential that we have to provide really actionable data to cities. I always love to talk about the Project Sunroof tool, which of course is now getting embedded in the Environment Insights Explorer, and the real world impact it's having. Just down the road from us in San Jose, they were setting their climate action plan as a city, trying to decide what goals were they going to set to reduce their emissions. And they explicitly cited, when they rolled out their action plan, the use of Project Sunroof that enabled them to set this really ambitious 1 gigawatt solar target. So for me, that was the tremendous proof of what was possible. And it's been so exciting to see, as I'm sure the team shared with you, just in the few weeks since the tool's been launched, we've had literally hundreds of cities coming to us and saying, we need this data. How do we partner to have more impact together? So I think that's just tremendously exciting and a great opportunity. So with that, I would love to open it up to questions. And I think maybe Nicole or Salim will
Yeah, are there any
help
questions
facilitate
in the
that.
audience? Everyone must be a little tired from food. I have a question.
Yeah, of course, please.
Obviously, with the work that you did in DC and the Navy and seeing, I think, the impact you had across fleets and buildings and such, when you think of your work at Google, and it's been a couple of years, and maybe thinking forward, since we are in a place of just thinking open and being creative, where do you think, what kind of success, what do you think success will look like in a couple of years for your work here?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the two big areas that I'm really excited about are our work around the circular economy, the work that we've been doing to really rethink how do we utilize natural resources within the global economy. And so at Google, what that has meant for us is how we think about utilizing resources inside of our data centers, for example. I talked about our zero waste to landfill goal, but we're also thinking about, how do we remanufacture our hardware? How do we look at these systems as being a place where we can go entirely closed loop and totally change our relationship to natural resources? We're also applying this thinking in our hardware, in our supply chain, as well as tools. We think there's tremendous opportunity for technology to accelerate this transition. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also, as I said, and need to brag on you guys, I'm just also tremendously excited about this really unique opportunity I think we have to work with you all, with our partners, and to utilize the tremendous tools we have in cloud and geomapping and machine learning to unlock new insights, to drive new impact. I think we've only just begun to realize the potential of that.
Oh, all right. I'll be brave and ask a question. Thank you so much, Kate.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really great to hear about everything that Google's doing, and I really applaud them for all that they're doing. I work for the Nature Conservancy in Wyoming, and when you talk about 100% renewable energy, which is a fantastic goal, we're really concerned about the impact of incorrectly cited renewable energy, things like wind turbines, and we're bracing for some really significant new wind farms in Wyoming in really important unfragmented habitat. And so just kind of curious, it's the challenge that we're facing. And just curious if that's maybe something down the road that you're thinking about, of sort of not all renewable energy is equivalent, and how do we move to a place where we can be really buying the most sustainable renewable energy and pushing that on the market?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a great question. And I think, of course, as we know, none of these issues are simple, right? They're complex. We're dealing in complex systems. I will say we have a tremendous team that does all of our renewable energy strategy and procurement, and I don't really want to speak on their behalf, but what I can say is they're incredible at what they do and really thoughtful. And if you'd like me to make a connection over there, I would be very happy to do so. But I completely agree with you. We have to be incredibly thoughtful on that issue.
Thanks very much. It was great to hear about that. Since you worked for the Navy, I just had a quick question. Have you heard of or had any experience with this technology of plasma generators? Do you know anything about those?
Oh, no, I don't.
You don't? Okay. I just heard the Navy was using them on their aircraft carriers they fully incinerate anything that's put into them, generate power.
Oh, like a plasma arc, waste to energy kind of technology?
Yeah, so I didn't know if you...
That is since my time. I haven't worked for the Navy since 2012, but I was not aware of that being deployed in the fleet. But I have, in my past life, explored a lot of different waste to energy technologies, so that's very cool. I will ask them about that.
Yeah,
That's very
I think they were also thinking about putting one on a cruise ship. And then also some of the island nations were looking at them, instead of incinerating their waste, using them, the Cayman Islands is looking at them and that kind of thing. So anyway, but I heard the Navy had used them.
Cool. I will ask. I still have a lot of friends over there.
Okay.
Thank you. That's
Thanks.
really interesting. Wonderful. Any other questions? Yes. Hi.
Hi, thanks for this. I wonder if sustainability plan includes the messaging to the skeptical. I mean, it's easy to sell great ideas to those that are evidence-oriented and like to make well-founded decisions, but presumably part of our responsibility is to get best practices into the hands of those that don't think the way we do.
Yeah.
Does sustainability include that portion? How does Google see that?
Yeah. So, I think as I sort of alluded to, I think we've been on this really tremendous journey where sustainability has been a core value since Google's founding and is very much baked into how we operate. And that really grew into our demand for energy, our need for goods and services in our supply chain to further try to drive sustainability into our operations, into our supply chain. Then we've done this work around tools with partners that are, in partnership with policymakers, with communities. And now I think we're entering yet this new chapter with the tool I shared around Your Plan, Your Planet, where we're trying to think about how do we actually not only reach experts, but also just individuals who may not be well educated on the issue, want to know what they can do in their own lives, but don't feel like they know where to start. So this is sort of a new step for us in opening up that tool and getting into the space of thinking about what more can we do to really engage individuals, but it's something we're really interested in.
Great. We have a couple more minutes or maybe one more question. Okay, well then maybe we can actually move on to the next
Great.
panel.
Thank you guys so much.
7 is clear.